Today, I will discuss the research review entitled Differentiating Instruction, Understanding the Key Elements of Successful Teacher Preparation and Development by Ligan and colleagues 2024. This review focuses on differentiated instructions, or commonly known as DI, which is an approach where teachers modify their teaching methods to meet the diverse learning needs, abilities, interest, and readiness levels of students. The authors emphasize that although differentiated instruction has many benefits, many teachers still find it difficult to implement effectively. Therefore, the study investigates what makes teacher preparation and professional development programs successful in helping teachers apply differentiated instruction. But before anything else, let me introduce myself. My name is Joshua San Francisco, and I will be your reporter this this afternoon. The researchers reviewed 29 peer-reviewed studies published between 2010 to 2020 involving both pre-service teachers and in-service teachers. The review aimed to answer three questions. What components are included in teacher preparation programs for differentiated instruction? Which components are the most effective? And what school or teacher-related factors influence the success of these programs? Understanding differentiated instructions. According to the authors, differentiated instruction is a proactive and inclusive teaching approach that adapts instruction according to students' readiness, interest, learning profiles, and individual needs. Teachers may differentiate according to the content students learn, the process of learning, the products of students or the activities that we created, and the learning environment. Research cited in the review shows that differentiated instruction improves students' academic achievement, engagement, and social or emotional development. However, implementing it requires teachers to possess the right knowledge, instructional skills, and positive attitude towards learners' diversity. Because without these things, it would be very hard for the teacher to give a standardized activities and to be fair to the students in giving differentiated instructions, because there are really learners who learn differently. Multiple intelligences by Howard Gardner. So as teachers, we must be able to adapt to this, and we should be knowledgeable with the topics that we're going to share to our students. We should be good in our instructional skills on how we deliver our topics. Then the positive attitude towards learner diversity, because in each classroom, students really learn differently, and as teachers, we should be able to adapt to this. In this study, there are key elements of successful teacher preparations, and out of this, there are around four. So the first one is, or the first common elements successful to teacher development program is active learning. Teachers should not simply attend lectures. Instead, they should actively participate by designing differentiated lesson plans, practicing in real classrooms, participating in simulations, and conducting classroom inquiry or action research. Because without being an active learner, us as teachers, it would be very hard for us to see in accordance to the shoes of our students, because as I have said, our learners learn differently. So as teachers, we should be able to participate in simulations that simulates different learning capabilities or different learning capacities of our students, so that by conducting or by creating or designing different lesson plans, we would be able to do it and in accordance to their learning capacity also. These practical experiences help teachers translate theory into classroom practices, because without translating it into classroom practices, these theories will remain theories itself. Okay, we should take note on that one. The second element is collaboration. Successful program encourage teachers to work together through peer discussions, professional learning communities, collaborative lesson planning, and even collaboration with students. Why? Because collaboration, no man is an island. So as teachers, we should be able to collaborate with our co-teachers in crafting lesson plans, or yeah, also inquiring towards the professional communities on different approaches that they were able to apply to their classrooms that are also applicable to you. uh, I remember when I was still fresh from uh, a newly hired instructor, um, I will always ask things that I do not know to my colleagues or co-teachers, because they're much more tenure to me in terms of teaching. So by that time, I was able to, through their help, I was able to grasp a lot of things or strategies actually that I will be applying in terms of my teaching to my students. One particular thing is that in effective communication, I was originally planning to have a debate, but upon consulting with my co-teachers, they were able to suggest that I should be going with a public speaking activity. And upon realizing it, or upon materializing it, it was actually a successful one, because I was able to see my students learning the conclusion of their learning on whether their pronunciations are good or how do they deliver their speeches. So yeah, that's a good thing in collaboration. And the next one, the third one, is reflection and feedback. Teachers are encouraged to reflect on their beliefs, teaching practices, and classroom experiences. Constructive feedback from mentors, coaches, and peers helps teachers identify areas of improvement and strengthen their implementation of differentiated instruction. Reflection was one of the most consistent characteristics of a successful program. Without reflection and receiving feedbacks from your co-teachers or your head, it would be very hard for you to see where you are falling behind or falling short, because whether we like it or not, we would always be biased towards our own activities, and we need other people to evaluate us. And accepting feedbacks and reflections is actually very good, because we're able to see where we are falling short, and by the next time we will be handling the same subjects or other things, we'll be able to patch those things and to fix those things. One particular example is I was very friendly actually towards my students, and upon further evaluation, it was actually not good, because at the end of the day, they might actually view it that I might be biased towards few of them. And yeah, I received feedbacks about it, and upon realizing it, I promised to myself that I will not be doing it again, because I would always receive negative feedback on that one, because people might see it I am actually too biased towards few, which isn't true actually. Anyways, let's continue. The fourth one is coaching and expert support. Many successful programs included instructional coaching and guidance from experienced educators. These experts provide demonstrations, classroom support, and continuous monitoring, making it easier for teachers to apply differentiated instructions confidently. As teachers, you are still also a learner. Learning do not end upon getting our diplomas and our license as teachers. Learning is continuous until the day we die. So it will not harm you to ask help towards your higher ups regarding what to do in your class, especially if it's differentiated instructions. Since most of the students are doing it, teachers are doing it, there's no harm in asking for help, be coached. Okay, so as teachers, we should be flexible. We should be grounded in these things. Okay, so I think that's it for the key elements of successful teacher preparation. We have active learning, collaboration, reflection, and feedback. Then the last one is coaching and expert support. Well, to continue, we have factors that influence success. The review also found that success of teachers' preparation depends on the school context. Okay, like facilitator successful implementation occurs when school provide supportive leadership, collaborative school culture, sufficient preparation, adequate time for professional training and learning. And opportunities for continuous development. These are the things that needed for differentiated instructions to be successful in implementation in your school, because without supportive leadership it would be very hard to find resources that are usable in terms of your instruction. It would also be hard for you to establish this without support from your heads. Okay, so whether we like it or not, we really need to have a supportive leadership in terms of implementing differentiated instruction, collaborative school culture. This one really matters also the same, because without collaboration from your co-teachers, it would be very hard for you to implement this one. The next is sufficient preparation. Differentiated instruction takes time. It will not be a short one. Okay, preparation it needs a lot of time to prepare, actually, in terms of constructing materials, the lesson plans, because you need to explore different multiple intelligences, so you need time for this one, and a deep research also. Then is adequate time for professional learning or training. This one is also important. Without adequate time to study in your or attend trainings or seminars, you will be facing a difficult challenge in doing this. Then opportunity for continuous development. As I said, learning is continuous. So at the end of the day, after implementing, you need to find opportunities to continue your development. Okay, because after implementing that certain differentiated instruction, you will be seeing shortcomings on that one. So you need continuous development. Okay. Then barriers. Several challenges limit successful implementation. Lack of time, as I said a while ago. If you have short amount of time, like for example, you decided to to conduct differentiated instructions on August 10th, because that's the opening in college. In my situation, if I've decided to conduct a differentiated instruction by August 10, I will be already too short of a time, because it's already the 13th of July. So I only have around a few weeks already, or a month or so. So yeah, I need to concise everything. It's a heavy teacher workload. Okay, you cannot really implement this particular or differentiated instruction without, if you are heavy loaded, actually. So you need to have quite a lot of free time to work on this one. So yeah, here in the Philippines, most of the teachers are actually being bombarded with workloads. Currently, I am with 33 units. So I will be handling 11 sections with, I think, 3 preps. That would be purposive communication, workplace communication, and art appreciation. So 3. So it would be very hard for me, but so far I am doing fine as of the moment. Anyways, let's continue. Limited resources. Here in the Philippines, we already know that there are really a scarcity in resources, especially in public schools. So it would be very hard, and if you're planning to implement this one, we should be resourceful, looking for sponsors or getting the money out from our own pocket. So yeah, it will be very sacrificial. Unsupportive school policies. This is really a problem, because DepEd is centralized, so you cannot really change the certain curriculum in accordance to your own students. So it's centralized. Okay, it follows one uh, capabilities or capacities. So yeah, it would be very hard. Standardized testing pressures and lack of administrative support. As I said, it's saddening because this is really true. Standardized testing pressures, all of the tests are standardized, centralized, so we cannot really um, fix it in accordance to our own students' capacity. So these findings suggest that even well-designed training programs may not succeed if schools fail to provide an environment that supports differentiated instructions. Okay, so yeah, I think as teachers we really need to be resourceful if we plan to implement differentiated instructions in terms of teaching our students. Conclusion. The review found that effective teacher preparation for differentiated instruction goes beyond simply teaching educational theories. Successful programs are long-term and comprehensive, based on active learning, encourage collaboration and reflection, provide coaching and feedback, and develop teachers' knowledge, skills, and attitudes simultaneously. These are the things that needed for programs to succeed. Okay, it should be long-term and comprehensive. Should be well detailed, well planned, and it should be long-term. It should not be short-term. Okay, based on active learning, encourage collaboration and reflection, because without these two, it will be very hard. Okay, provide coaching and feedback, and develop teachers' knowledge, skills, and attitude, because at the end of the day, as teachers, we should always develop or hone our knowledge, skills, and attitude, because it would be very shameful for teachers to be less intellectual compared to their students. Okay, we should always be above our students in terms of knowledge or ideas, but it's not shameful actually to be uneligible towards other avenues, because we are not omniscient. Okay, we should always be able to accept where we fall short as teachers. The authors conclude that differentiated instruction should become a standard part of both pre-service teacher education and continuous professional development. At the same time, schools must provide the necessary support, time, and resources to ensure that teachers can successfully implement differentiated instruction in their classroom. Okay, we should always be able to ensure that as teachers, implement differentiated instruction in our own respective classroom if we ever plan on doing so. And of course, we can already see that some of our students are not really good in particular this kind of learning strategy, so we should construct something but on the same level of difficulty as to the other part. Okay, I have done that actually with my Chinese student, and so far, upon further checking, he was able to catch up actually to compared to the topics, even though I constructed different approach, because he's actually not good in terms of speaking English, but he is good in speaking Tagalog, Filipino, and Cebuano. So I decided to construct different lesson for him, but on the same level of difficulty, and yeah, just different type of approach. Okay, thank you for listening, everyone. And this research reminds us that effective differentiated instruction begins with well-prepared teachers. It begins with us, how prepared we are. By investing in meaningful teacher preparation and continuous professional development, schools can better meet the diverse learning needs of every student. And hopefully, as we continue to be an educator, we will be able to share or to improve how we test or how we conduct lessons with our students. And I think that's it. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you for listening.